This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And today we are continuing our rankings for the positions in the NBA. We are ranking all 30 starters, one from each team for the 2019-2020 season. Crazy that it's already 2020.
Yep.
We have gotten through the point guards. We've gotten through the shooting guards. We have gotten through the small forwards. I think that's probably been our most controversial one. It's been small forwards.
Probably.
Am I wrong?
No, I mean, it was a tough position because a lot of guys have repositioned themselves, or we kind of ended up moving their lineup around a little bit to make things
shooting
work.
guards. Shooting guards has been worse. Shooting guards 1 through 10 has been bad.
Yeah.
That's the one where we've gotten the most feedback.
Okay,
let's put that positively.
Yeah.
The most feedback. And this one, I think, is going to be probably the most feedback episode because power forwards, what we're doing this week, is absolutely loaded with
We realized
players.
they're actually 40 deep.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane.
Like, there's 30
the guys
starts,
that
but
we
they're
left
40
out.
deep.
It's like there's tiers, and like the low tier, there's 2 guys, and it's just like these guys suck, and everyone else is just like, well, they're young, and you can make an excuse for them. You're
Absolutely.
Like, every single guy is extremely talented. Before we jump into these rankings, though, check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. If you want to help us out, if you want to support us, we're trying to upgrade this room. We're trying to move out of this room, and helping us out on patreon.com would allow us to do so. So we'd appreciate that and your support over there at patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. And how we're doing it, if you are new to these rankings, we'll go to Ricky, and he'll give his rankings for 21 through 30. Then Dave will give his rankings 21 through 30. Then I'll give my rankings for 21 through 30. And then we'll give our cumulative ratings for 21 through 30. If you're ranked 30, you get 1 point. And each position that you're put at, you get the opposite amount of points. So if you're at 30, you get 1 point. If you're at 25, you get 6 points. If you're at 30, or if you're at number 1, you get 30 points. And then we add all those up, and then we get the cumulative rankings for these positions. And I think that's about it. And we'll do them in segments. We got 21 through 30 right now. Then we'll do 11 through 20, and then we'll do 1 through 10. And we'll give you all 30 positions, all 30 teams, talking about their power forwards. So let's jump into it. Ricky Widmer.
I realize I'm going to fuck up some names, so I apologize. But at 30, we got Rodions Kurucs, right? Kurucs. Then at 29, Kelly Olynyk. 28, Marvin Williams. 27, PJ Tucker. Might be too low, but he's right there at 27. 26, Zack Collins. 25, Paul Millsap. 24, Dario Saric. 23, Rui Hotcha Moreau. And then at 22, Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. And 21, the Bagman, Marvin Bagley.
You're getting close to end it. You're like, oh, Jaren Jackson, the last one. Oh, and Marvin Bagley.
And Marvin Bagley, who I originally had at 29. I'm like, I got to change that.
Yeah,
glad you did.
Yep.
Dave, give us your 21 through 30.
All right, at number 30, I've got Zack Collins. At 29, it's Marvin Williams. At 28, I've got Rhodey. At 27, Kelly Olynyk. 26 is Dario Saric. 25, PJ Tucker. 24, Rui Hotcha Moreau. I'm sorry, I can't put the spice on it like you did, Ricky. At 23, I've got Paul Millsap. At 22, I've got Robert Covington for some reason. At 21, I've got Marvin Bagley. The Rocco slide over, I'm just going to get it out of the way and say some of these guys we had to reposition because of their team layout. And we tried to put the best lineup on the court at the same time.
Yeah, and we'll get to it, too. We'll probably end up talking about all these guys except for Marvin Williams. Let's jump into mine. At 30, I have Marvin Williams. At 29, I have Rui Hotcha Moreau. At 28, I have Rodions Kurucs. At 27, I have Zack Collins. At 26, I have Kelly O. At 25, I have PJ Tucker. At 24, I have Danilo Gallinari. At 23, I have Dario Saric. At 22, I have Kevin Love. And at 21, I have Paul Millsap. And for our cumulative ratings, that gives us at 30, Marvin Williams. At 29, Rodions Kurucs of the Brooklyn Nets. At 28, Zack Collins of the Portland Trailblazers. 27, Kelly Olynyk of Miami Heat. 26, PJ Tucker of the Houston Rockets. 25, Rui Hotcha Moreau of the Washington Wizards. At 24, we have Dario Saric, now of the Phoenix Suns. At 23, we have Paul Millsap of the Denver Nuggets. 22, Robert Covington of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And at 21, we have Marvin Bagley of the Sacramento Kings. So we'll be talking about those guys right there: Bagley, Covington, Millsap, Saric, Hotcha Moreau, Tucker, Olynyk, Collins, Kurucs, and Williams. Those are the guys that we'll be talking about in this segment. And I want to start off first with the rookie of this bunch, Rui Hotcha Moreau. I had him at 29. Ricky, you had him at 23. And Dave, you had him at 24. My big thing with this is every single guy on this list has proven something in their career. Marvin Williams was a top 2 pick, and he's even at 30, but that's just because of age, and he really just isn't as athletic as he used to be, and he's just not as an impact player. But all of these guys, they are either still making an impact or they still have that ability, even though they might be on a bad team, to make an impact if they were traded to a good team. Hotcha Moreau just has not proven himself yet because he hasn't played an NBA game. So next year, can he rise up this board? Absolutely. And we talked about his potential throughout our NBA draft stock, consistently. He's a guy that just got into basketball fairly recently. The first Japanese-born NBA player, I believe. I think there might have been one, but Yuta Watanabe.
Yuta Watanabe.
Was he born in Japan?
I don't actually know.
Okay, but at least I think he might have been the first Japanese player drafted in the first round.
Yes.
It's absolutely
yes,
great to see.
He was born in Japan.
Yuta?
Watanabe.
Okay, yeah. So I think he was the first drafted
first round,
player, Rui Hotcha Moreau, that is. He's definitely got the skill set. I mean, we talk about his athleticism, and he's extremely athletic. I think there's still a lot for him to work on, and him being on a poor team in the Washington Wizards, I don't think it's going to be best for his growth right away in year one. So I think I have to put him down a little bit lower, but you guys clearly higher than me at 23 and 24. What are you guys seeing from Rui Hotcha Moreau that deserved this ranking?
I really, really enjoyed watching him play in college. And one of the biggest things about him is he was still growing his game a lot at that point. He was late to the game in his life, and his English skills have been progressing along with his basketball skills. So the more he works with coaches, the more he learns about the game. And in the short amount of time he spent in college, we really saw a huge amount of growth. His inside game looks solid. He's got some smooth moves down low in the paint. I think he's an okay cutter. The big question for him is always going to be his outside shot, because as a 4, you're pretty much, in this day and age, expected to be able to stretch that floor out much further than you used to be in the old days. Even just, 5, 6, 7 years ago, the game was very different. So I like the way that his game looks right now, and I like the way that it looks to progress. The biggest thing for me, though, as of late in the FIBA World Cup qualifiers, he's been showing up and playing out up against some other professional basketball players, and he looks really good. And I know these are not top tier guys. This is not, NBA level competition, but anything you throw up against him, he's produced at a high level. So there's no reason for me to penalize him as much or put him as low. I have high expectations because he's going to a situation where, look, beyond Bradley Beal, he can be their second leading scorer on this team coming up into the year. And that's what's exciting. It's opportunity mixed with the fact that he is a positive trend of growth going into this year.
Yeah, well, my biggest thing, I don't want to discount what Dave's saying with the FIBA World Cup stuff, that, he put up 31 against Germany recently, and that's fantastic. And for a young player, it's great to see him go out and put an effort out there and put up that many points. That's impressive. But Ricky, I think you might be on the same page with me. It's I still count this as preseason. I still count this as things that don't count. This is still summer league. It's not the true NBA. So I can't take what he's doing in the FIBA World Cup too seriously because it isn't real NBA basketball.
Well, the reason why it's I'll take it with a grain of salt is only because of how is he going to fit in the NBA system that he was drafted for. And for me, the thing that I understand why we say it, but I absolutely hate when we say it is, but they haven't proven anything yet. Well, duh, they're rookies. They haven't played an NBA game. I look at it more of, where do you see Rui being at the end of the year? And for me, all the guys that I put him above when it comes to Caruks, when it comes to Kelly O, Marvin Williams, PJ Tucker, Zack Collins, Paul Millsap, and Dario Saric, these are the only guys on this list that I was if their team had a somewhat better of an option, they would be replaced. Dario's played in the bench role. You've got Millsap's old. He's probably going to be replaced soon. Zack Collins is a guy who's come off the bench in his career. PJ Tucker, same thing. Fits a good role.
But with that,
Collins has also come off the bench too.
Collins is young, but because Collins is still young, he was coming off the bench just because he was a raw player coming out of Gonzaga. Yeah. He was taken as a freshman, and he would have been the same age as Rui right now, but he's had 2 years in the NBA, and he was playing on a playoff team. And PJ Tucker, yes, he hasn't had, he's come off the bench in his career, but he has provided so many valuable options for this great Houston Rockets team. And Paul Millsap, yes, yes, he's not what he used to be, but he provides defense and leadership to this Denver Nuggets team that was a second seed last year. So, and even Sarge,
he's still a
too.
decent scorer, too.
Yeah, and Sarge has been traded around everywhere, but he started in every single place. He started in Philadelphia. He started in Minnesota. He's going to start for Phoenix. He's still been a starter throughout his whole career.
He did move to the bench on both of those teams. I'm just saying, like, he's the guy who I'm on the fringe about. Like, he was always a very good player.
You're talking about Dario?
Yeah. Okay. But I felt like he was able to abuse second units really well because as a big man with passing skills, like, he really could help run that second unit, almost like a secondary ball handler out there for a team. So he's a guy where, like, I can see him succeeding more as second unit, but at the same time, as a starter, he's still a solid shooter. He just gets punished a little defensively out there. I just love Rui though. Like, yeah, I can't help the fact that I don't agree with all of the rankings that each other have, but like I look at it and when it comes to situations to succeed, like I get it. Not having a true point guard and John Wall out there is going to hurt, but at the same time,
what are your expectations for Rui?
How many times can you come in the league and be like, look, this team, you can be the second scoring option in your rookie year.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to cut you off, but like, what are your expectations for Rui?
I mean,
since you do have him at 23.
For me, I'm not. You guys obviously know I'm not the best with like, hey, here's a stat line, but I mean, I almost look at it to where, let's pull up because Triple J and Marvin Bagley. It's actually very interesting how I have them, boom, 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 right in a row because I almost feel like there could be one where. I mean, Triple J last year in his rookie season was what? 13, about 5 boards a game, 1 assist. If Rui can come in and put up 13 to 14, maybe 15 on the high end, give you maybe 4 boards, I'll knock a little bit off there, and have a little bit more than 1 assist, I think that's a win for this team. But also, like Dave said, do you expect more points? Because he is going to be the number 2 scoring option on this team. And Dave, I know you're pointing to blocks. I know Triple J has more of the defense than Rui does.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you still have Triple J above Rui Hotcha Moreau. So you're not saying Rui's better than Triple J. I mean, and I don't know if it's for sure that he is the number 2 scoring option. I mean, it's definitely possible. But
yeah,
I mean,
I'm just saying it's open.
We saw what Thomas Bryant did as well last year, and he put up 10 points, which I know you're saying he's putting up 14, then obviously that's more than 10. But we did see Thomas Bryant come on later on in the season in that role. I could see that being a possibility. I'm just not sure what he can provide consistently. I think that he can have spurts where he is your second scoring option. He is putting up 25 in a night, but I don't know if he can be consistent enough night in, night out in an NBA system because I don't think he has this bag of tricks to get to the bucket like I think he is most comfortable doing. I don't think he can create separation between him and a defender to get shots to fall. If he's wide open, I think he could probably sink a couple. But if he's not cutting to the basket and going with a full head of steam, I don't know if he can be this guy yet. And he is still very young, 21 years old. He can still grow into that player, but I think he still needs more growth than we're giving him. He is athletic in transition. He's going to be great cutting the basket when he's open. I think he's going to be very dangerous in those situations. But if he's got a guy right in his face guarding him, and we talked about how deep this position's, the guys that will be guarding him, Jason Tatum, Zion Williamson, Jaren Jackson Jr., Sabonis, like those guys are going to give him fits because those guys are, if not veterans, they are, equally athletic to him, and they are stronger, and they do know, they've been playing basketball longer, and they know tricks, they know what these guys are trying to do, they know tendencies, especially like if he goes up against an Al Horford. I mean, Al Horford's one of the best defenders this position.
He dicked on Joel Embiid last year. Like it's one of those things where he's one of the best defenders of bigs in the league.
I think Hotcha Moreau is going to have a tough time doing that, especially without the lack of a point guard. If he had a point guard, it might have been easier, but he doesn't have John Wall out there. So I don't know if this is going to be the year for Hotcha Moreau, and I at least like to have him prove it before I'm putting him over guys like PJ Tucker, who is so valuable to this Houston Rockets team, or Zack Collins, who hasn't had that opportunity to take that next step, but has been in that Portland system for a long time now. This is going to be his 3rd year, or guys like Paul Millsap, who are so crucial to this Denver Nugget team obviously they're probably going to get rid of him next year because I think he's got a team option at that point.
Yeah.
It's his final year, but he's making $30 million. Yep. Is Paul Millsap worth $30 million? No, but they thought it was a good signing at that point, and I still think it was a good signing because he did bring veteran leadership and defensive abilities, which is going to hide, Nikola Jokic's probably biggest downside is his defense. And Paul Millsap being out there does help him. So, I mean, all of these guys provide such important pieces to playoff teams. And I think that's why, with Hotcha Moreau, he could put up a decent stat line, but even then, what's his impact going to be on the NBA? And I don't think it's going to be that massive where we hate to say, all right, this kid can do that in every single situation. Well, we know Paul Millsap can do this because he's been doing it for 15 years now or whatever.
Exactly.
And the thing I want to, and this is kind of maybe transferring a little out of Rui into someone that you mentioned is like Zack Collins. And that's someone that I kind of look at on this is like, I want to say he's a faux power forward, like faux starting power forward on these rankings because of the Nurkic injury. To where, to me, it's he might get the start early on, but it's like this team, A, has Nurkic when he comes back. How are they going to fill that up? Because I don't think, maybe they run Whiteside and Nurkic out there at the same time, but probably not. But you also have guys like Paul Gasol on this team. They have Skal Labissiere. They got Nasir Little, who they drafted, where it's like, are they going to rotate a lot at this
Are you really cutting short my boy Mario Hezonja?
And Mario Hezonja, he'll play more of the 3 in my mind than the 4.
He had his best success at the 4, and then he had his best success playing point guard. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying.
So he's going to spell Damian Lillard. He'll play at the 4 when he's not.
Don't discount Mario Hezonja. You better watch yourself.
Or as I've compared him in the draft, Luka Light, right?
Jesus
Remember
Christ.
Luka Light? But Zack Collins to me is the one where it's like, all right, we've seen you come off the bench. Now what are you going to do when you have this opportunity to possibly start beginning of the year for the Blazers?
Yeah, no, he's an interesting case because he is someone who physically needs to build up. We watched him the last couple of years, like you said. He's gotten minutes. He's gotten his fair share. At the end of his rookie year, he got a lot of playing time pushed at him. And then this past year was pretty impressive. But at the same time, just off when he gets really good offensive players, they can abuse him because he just didn't have the physical size to body them up and prevent them from getting down to the low post and working their way in close to the rim. So with Whiteside's addition to this team, and I think a lot of people are thinking it's temporary because it's, like you said, till Nurkic gets back. Paul Gasol's a guy who has an injury, so it's like, how healthy is he going to be able to be? Are we expecting 10 minutes a night out of Gasol? Like, what's the expectation? Where should that be at? So I see Zack Collins as a guy who likely is going to end up being like a backup 5 for them once Yusuf Nurkic returns.
Yeah, and they get rid of Whiteside.
And they get rid of Whiteside.
His contract's expiring.
So that would be my expectation. I think they can roll it out with another wing, either, like you said, with Hezonja or Tolliver, one of those kind of tweener guys to fill out that roster and make the team more dynamic. But honestly, Collins he looks impressive, but the problem is he still has so much to grow physically in order to earn the minutes out there.
Yeah, offensively he's gifted, and he is in that rough spot where he should probably be a center, but he's just not, again, physically there yet.
Yeah.
But offensively, I think he is there. He hit some pretty nice splits, and playing off of guys who can create, like CJ and like Dame, I think it's going to help him, especially if he is able to take another step in his deep range shooting.
Yeah.
Went from 30% to 33% last year. If he's able to get up to league average, as a stretch forward, being 7 feet tall, that is, I think, possible. I just think that the biggest thing that I worry with him is, or at least the biggest thing with him is, if he's playing out of position so much, like the difference between him and Hotcha Moreau, like Hotcha Moreau probably playing in his position. He is a 3 or a 4. Where Collins, we talked about, is more of a 5. Playing out of position, what will that hurt him, and in what way will it hurt him? Because, like we said, he's most likely a 5 or a backup 5,
right?
And he's not going to be going up against those guys because you're going to have him either playing with Nurkic or Whiteside. Is it going to hurt him or help him? And I kind of think that he can either go the way of a Kevin Love, where Kevin Love was kind of stuck in that same way throughout his career. But Kevin Love obviously made it work because he was an all-star.
Yeah.
Or really kind of get stuck.
Yeah, the upside for Collins playing the 4 right now is because he is a little bit lighter, a little bit quicker than a lot of guys. He can go out to the perimeter and defend, even being 7 feet tall. His footwork's solid enough that that's not going to be a big thing. It's just when he gets backed down by those bigger bodies, then you're just, green light. That's the problem. But I love the tenacity he brings. Like, the dude is all effort all the time, which gets him in trouble a bit a couple of times. I've seen him get benched a handful of times because of just he gets caught up in the moment, caught up in the game.
And that's the thing where I feel like that's going to be, I want to say, a little touchy for the Trailblazers, is the fact of he's only started one game. So it's like, it's easy for, hey, I'm going to throw you in off the bench. Oh, you're letting the game get away from you. Here, let me come away from you and go with someone else.
Yeah.
How much is it going to kill a confidence if it's like, if you're starting a guy and that happens at the beginning of the game, a guy who hasn't started many games, like I said, one game, you can't immediately pull him right away. So it's like, it's going to be a different kind of way that you're handling him if you're going to start, to where it's like, all right, you almost have to play out of that rather than, hey, I'm going to take you out, coach you up, and then put you back in.
Yeah, I don't know if I think they do have that luxury, since they do have some veteran guys like Tolliver and Hazonia, Rodney Hood as well. I mean, he's mostly going to be at the 3, but they do have options there. I just don't think it's going to kill his confidence, just because that's what he's used to. You know, I mean, I don't think he feels like he's earned that starting job, mainly because he knows Nurkic is out and they had to go out and get him, get a Nurkic replacement.
Same reason they had to get Cantor last season. I mean, like, that was such a huge add for that team in the playoffs. How clutch was, a hurt freaking Enes Kanter going all out defensively, offensively, giving his heart, playing broken, and like, I think that showed a lot. And that's the kind of like effort that you got to show to Zach and be like, dude, this is what you want to mold yourself after, at least on the court. Off court shenanigans, no thank you, but on the court,
this isn't that bad. Really? What's wrong with
his press conferences from New York? The fact that he's at war with his own country.
Is it hurting? I mean, hold on. We don't know exactly what's going on with situation. Yeah, we don't know what's going on with he's Turkish, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really know what's going on with.
Yeah, I don't
Turkey.
know the details we're
not international relations.
But the
experts.
fact that he's,
yeah. But yeah, I think with Collins, I don't think he feels like he might. I don't know him personally, and I don't know what his statements have been, but he probably feels like he's fighting for that starting job, and if he doesn't get it, I mean, again, that's what he's been used to for the past 3 years. So I don't know if it's going to really debilitate him in that way. Let's talk about a guy who definitely doesn't have a starting job in the future, but will have a starting job right now, and also in that young mix as well, Rodions Kurucs. For the Brooklyn Nets, clearly not going to have that starting job because there's a guy named Kevin Durant that's going to be back next year. What's his future outlook, Dave? What are you expecting Rodions to add to this team this year, and obviously throughout his rookie contract? What did you see from him that you liked last year, and how can he help this team make a playoff push again?
This guy's basically a Swiss Army knife out there. He can
or
do
a
it.
Latvian Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, you could say that.
Latvian Army knife.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say Latvian Swiss Army knife because that doesn't make a sense. He's Latvian. If you didn't notice.
Gold.
Horrible.
Yeah, no, he has good size. He's got good athleticism for his size, which surprises a lot of people, and decent enough footwork. The whole thing with him is like, he doesn't have to score. He doesn't have to have the ball in his hands. He's able to kind of fill in the pieces. He can go get you some rebounds. He can do some putback shots. He can move the ball around on the outside, and he can dribble well enough for his size. So I think the thing for him is to understand that, like, given the night, yes, he can go up and score like 15, 17 points a night if he has to, but it's not going to come efficiently yet. He's still working on developing that shot. He can get to the rim decently well, though. And for me, it comes down to how well can he find out what his role will be on this new evolving offense for Brooklyn. You're going to see a lot of heavy ISO with Kyrie Irving out there, and Karis LeVert would be my guess. So he's got to be, someone who can go out and defend really good wings. He's got to be someone who can get, a couple of good-looking shots that are hopefully going to be wide-ish open, because who are people going to focus on more, I can see some help defense slinking off of him and trying to, build up the lane to stop Kyrie from driving, hold up Karis at that mid-range pull-up shot. So I really expect him to just kind of fill in all the nice cracks on this team. Like, his ideal situation is continue developing the shot, and you just become this great defensive stopper, and you can get rebounds. You kind of mold your game after PJ Tucker would be nice, because you've got better size, you've got really good length, and I really expect him to just keep growing his game. I think he's a solid power forward. He's definitely a bench player, like small forward, power forward, but because of the situation last year, he got the ability to start. He was a huge upgrade over Rondez Hollis-Jefferson, and I think the team just liked that boost of energy that he gave them.
Yeah, and Ricky, moving away from Rodion's, a guy that Dave compared him to was PJ Tucker. You had him ranked 27th, but we kind of talk about this Swiss Army knife ability. He's a guy that could play at the 5, the 4, the 3. PJ Tucker's been around forever. With the the leaving of Chris Paul, the addition of Russell Westbrook, how important do you think PJ Tucker will be to this Houston Rockets team? Because you look at the way that this team's set up now, it's really Russ, James Harden, Clint Capella. You need to have that fourth guy. He is their glue guy. I mean, do you think they could be a team that's pushing for an NBA championship with him as their fourth best player?
Well, I'm going to say no, only
or
because...
fifth, if you want to count Eric Gordon.
I'm only going to say no to the pushing for a championship, but it has nothing to do with PJ Tucker. I just don't think the combination of Harden and Westbrook are going to win a championship for Houston. I think PJ Tucker, to me, when he shows his greatest worth, is in playoff time. And he's a guy where I know he started 82 games last year, but he, to me, is a guy where it's what is he going to do for you in the playoffs? You come up, you say he came up with big moments. What was it, 2 years ago when he came up with those big moments to keep them alive in a series? And it's most of us were wait, who the what, PJ Tucker? Why is PJ Tucker going off like this in a playoff game? And that to me is where he's going to earn his dough, is Westbrook, Harden, maybe with Gordon being the third. They're going to get you to where you need to be. It's in those playoff series and who you get matched up against. Can PJ Tucker be a guy that gives you scoring, let's say, if a James Harden falls off a game, if Westbrook can't hit the broadside of a barn in a playoff game? Can PJ Tucker be the guy that's okay, in this game, Westbrook don't got it, I got it. I'm going to help be the life preserver for this team in this game. Because it could happen. Even Eric Gordon could be hey, I didn't have a good game this time, but hey, PJ showed up and we won the game.
Be the what?
The life preserver.
Oh, okay.
I
heard life preserver, and I was I don't know if you just don't know the word. No, you.
I don't know if he's ever going to give you the scoring to help this team. I think they're more likely to fall on to Gerald Green goes wicked hot again and just drops 25 off the bench because he just starts stroking threes left and right. Same with Austin Rivers. Those are the kind of guys who are that. That's where your spark plug comes from. I think PJ Tucker is just. He does all the right things. He does all the smart things. He's veteran. He's savvy. He's hitting his prime in his 30s. It's kind of awesome how he's evolved this game over time. And like you said about coming up big in the playoffs, if you look at his shooting splits during the playoffs the last 2 years, he was shooting 46% from three in 2017-18 and 45% from three in 18-19 on 4 and 5 attempts respectively. That is not anything to sneeze at. He is impressive from three. And again, those shots, we know the quality of looks he's getting because you have James Harden out there creating so much havoc, drawing so much attention from teams. So he's someone you can rely on to make the smart play on offense and be able to take on whoever you point at defensively. You need him to guard a 1? Sure. You need him to guard a 5? Sure. That's what he'll do. He doesn't shrug. He doesn't argue about it. He just does it because he's a professional. And there's something to respect out of that.
You guys know what PJ stands for?
I don't actually.
Paul Joseph.
I can say it stands for PJ. His actual name is PJ.
His real name is Anthony Leon.
What?
Tucker. It stands for Pops Jr.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I don't know what it means, but fuck, it's what basketball reference does.
The perfect example, though, I will say, is look back last year to what game was it in the playoffs? It was, I want to say game 4. Yeah, game 4 of the Warriors-Rockets series, where it was so the third option, Chris Paul, and I know we were oh, he's fallen off a bit in just this series, but Chris Paul only had 13 points. It's okay, Gordon and Harden got theirs, 38 and 20, but PJ Tucker with 17 points starting in that game, if he didn't give them those 17, they don't win that game for 112-108, and they go down 3-1 instead of tying up that series 2-2.
All right, before we go super long on this, I think we have to touch on one more guy. Well, I'll give you guys a guy each. All right, so we'll talk about some of the lineup configuration and how it kind of screwed a team. We'll go to Rocco because you mentioned in the opening, Dave, when you were giving your stuff. Let's talk about Rocco. You think he should have been higher? You thought you at least should have ranked himself higher in your own rankings. What does Rocco add, and why do you think he'd be better at the 3?
I mean, he's been primarily the best wing. He was one of the best wing defenders for the last 3 years. The problem is his team doesn't really have a well-rounded lineup. He has to be out there for spacing purposes alone. But because of that, they also don't have an interior defender with Cat at the 5. So it's really a troubled balancing act that the Timberwolves have to perform this year, trying to find the right lineup, whether it is sliding him over to the 3 and benching their rookie in, I can't remember his name already. Wow. What's up? Culver, yeah, Jarrett Culver.
Naz Reid.
Yeah, and bringing in Naz Reid to be that defensive stopper that no one knows. I'm sorry, Sean. I'm sorry. But
Goat.
yeah, I think it just comes down to the fact that as a 3-and-D player, like, he brings exactly what you want to. He was a very good shooter. He's a very good defender, on ball, off ball. He can do a little bit of everything for you on that end of the court, and he talks, which is one of the biggest things, because when you're awful as a defensive team, it's crickets out there, and it's embarrassing because it's demoralizing when other teams can get easy buckets on you. He's one of those guys who is vocal on that end of the court, and when he came over to the Timberwolves, you saw the impact. They started winning games, and it was really, really a nice impact.
I actually got some questions for you guys when it comes to Rocco, and I'm glad you brought him up. So, found an article from Dunking with Wolves on the fan-sided side of things, and they had 4 bold predictions for Rocco coming into the season. I'm going to throw 3 of them out at you because one of them is start 40 games at point or at power forward, which if he's the power forward, I'm assuming is going to happen. Let me throw the other 3 out at you, and you two are going to answer whether you think it does happen. This bold prediction does happen or does not. The first, that Rocco will shoot 40% from beyond the arc. He was at 37.2 last year.
No, they don't have enough. They don't have a good enough point guard.
I'm gonna say yes. I think he's gonna be able to do it because at the end of the year, when they were just like, just give Cat the ball, like everybody else's percentages went up. So I'm gonna hope that they're gonna continue playing that game and not letting Jeff Teague decide that he's the best shooter on the floor.
I think he was above 40% one time in his career, so I mean, it wouldn't be crazy if he did.
I think it was 39, and then
I'll just say no.
He
started off that one year was like he was shooting like 50% from 3.
Actually in Philly before he was traded, he was at 39.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that year he was at like 50 to start off.
Yeah, he was fire for the first month of the season.
Yeah, he was like the best 3-point shooter.
It's incredible. And like even he was like, I don't know how it's happening. I'm just gonna keep shooting now.
So
man.
The next one is that he will lead the NBA in total steals.
Yeah, I'll take it. He was the only player last year in that was top 10 in both steals and blocks. Dude can do it.
I'm gonna say no. He's not gonna lead the league in steals.
And then the very last one is that he will be all defensive first team.
So this is a tough one because there's a lot of really good guys out there, and I can't see him jumping ahead of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. So
and Anthony Davis is coming back if he's healthy.
No, I'm gonna say no. I think he's gonna be very good, but I think he would be an imaginary second.
Well,
team.
and what, they only have 2 forwards, right? Or do they count centers? Is center its own position?
Last year's first team was Rudy Gobert, Paul George, Giannis, Marcus Smart, and
basically
Rudy
Rudy Gobert gets the nod for the last 3 years. So.
He's not gonna knock out Giannis or Kawhi or AD. So I'll say no. Yeah.
I totally forgot. I had to cock my head back because I'm like, Kawhi was a second team.
Yeah.
All defensive. I get it. Just seeing Kawhi on the second team and not the first team makes you just cock your head back. Like, what? What's going on here?
Final guy we got to bring up, and Ricky, I'll go to you first. You ranked him too low to start, but you made it up for yourself, Marvin Bagley. What do you expect from this kid? Why'd you have him so low in the beginning?
I mean, for me, I just want to see more of consistency, and I also want to see. I'm curious to see how he meshes with the Luke Walton system with the Sacramento Kings, where ever since he was in LA, I was a Luke Walton guy, although the record didn't kind of go in that favor, and that's why he ultimately got the push along with other things also.
Yeah, the assault allegations didn't help either.
I just want to see with Bagley consistency and more of what Dave said before the podcast is it like Bagley where he dunks real good? Where it's like
he does dunk really good.
He dunks really good, but it's like, can I see an extra part of the game this year? Can you? I know he shot about averaged 1.5 3-point attempts a game. Do you either up that percentage and go in a Blake Griffin light? Do you up your defense, maybe have more steals this year? Do you pass the ball a little bit more and have more than just one assist a game? Like, that's what I want to see from Bagley, where it's like, are you just going to be somebody who dunks real good? Or are you going to start to show us like, oh, maybe you do have some tools that make you a more complete player?
The biggest thing that I kind of want to see from him, and you're not wrong, you obviously want to see those percentages rise, and I mean he's a fairly decent shooter. I don't think he'll be. I think at best he'll probably be league average, in his best shooting years. I don't think he's going to be a lights out 3-point shooter in his career. You want to see his free throw percentages go up as well, because you're obviously doing so much damage down low when you're getting fouled. You want to make those count. So that stuff I think is natural progression though. One thing I was kind of shocked, though, last year was that he wasn't as good as a rebounder as we kind of assumed he was. We talked about this can't-quit motor when he was coming in. He only grabbed about 7.5 boards a game. It's not much. I mean, I think Luka was around that. Wasn't he?
No, I'm saying, see, you're knocking on the 7.5 rebounds a game. He was only playing 25 minutes.
Yeah, but even 36 minutes, it's about 10 boards.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, but I look at that, and I think I like the offensive rebound numbers, for sure.
Yeah.
2.5, that's nice. But you'd assume it'd be higher. I think we thought of this kid. We thought of him coming in as like a 15 and 10 guy. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, you had Willie Cauley-Stein. You had a lot of guys that can grab vulture boards off of him. Yeah. But I thought he was going to be a better rebounder than that. And you're right. He didn't play a ton of minutes last year, but I just thought that would be higher. I guess I don't know.
You thought it'd be like where we saw DeAndre Ayton, where Ayton was 16 and 10 last year. When it came to points and rebounds.
I going in, I thought Bagley was a better rebounder than Ayton. Ayton's obviously bigger. Yeah. But I mean, we talked about that can't quit motor. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not saying he's a bad rebounder at all, Dave. I'm just saying, like, I was kind of shocked when I saw 7.5, which I mean, I think was Luka territory.
Luka was 7.8.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but Luka also played
32 minutes a game.
Yeah, so he played 7 more minutes a game than him.
Dave, I'm just saying I thought the number would be higher.
Long shots mean long rebounds. And you have De'Aaron Fox, who rapidly became a great 3-point shooter. You have the Wooden Award winner, put some respect on it, Buddy Hield, one of the best 3-point shooters. Big like Clay, shoots like Steph. I'm just saying, I could name for day on this man, but he is one of the best shooters in the NBA.
But even then, he's one of the best shooters in the NBA. There's no rebounds to grab because he's making all of them.
He makes a lot of them.
Dave,
sure.
there you go. But I'm throwing back the minutes thing in your face.
But when you look at the breakdown rebounds, like Willie Cauley-Stein was at 8.4, then Bagley at 7.6. Yeah. And then you had Belly, you had Barnes, you had Buddy, and you had Kosta Koufos. Like, their team, you see when you have smaller guys get boards that quickly, like, yeah, they're going long. The big thing for me was just Bagley was able to abuse second teams because there's not a second team center, bench center in the league who can really compete against his offensive skill set defensively. So the speed at which he attacks the basket in the fast break is incredible. He and De'Aaron Fox had some amazing moments. And I think this year, him inserting him into that starting lineup is going to create opportunities for him that he didn't previously had. But he's going to need to work his ass off because defensively, he definitely has a lot to grow. The big thing is when it comes down to that balanced lineup, and how is he going to play with a true center alongside him in Dwayne Dedmon? We're going to have to see how that goes. But with Dedmon being able to stretch out to the 3-point line, I'm hopeful at best for what he can show us. I think he absolutely is a monster. And we saw stretches last year where he was able to pop off for 20 points a game, multiple games in a row. And he has the talent to do that consistently. So I think he's one of those guys who is in John Collins territory. And he's just a little bit more to show us before we put him higher, where John Collins is.
That's why I'm excited to see what he can do with the Luke Walton system, because I wonder if Luke's going to do that same thing he tried to do with the Lakers, where it's like, hey, let's go in transition, let's run a little bit, and will we see Bagley and Fox kind of working like you just said?
Yeah, no, it's honestly, like, we've been on the Kings, like, almost their bandwagon for like 3 years. And they're just
eventually
a super
it's going to come
team.
up Millhouse, right?
Well, yeah, they just choked at the end of last year, but that's fine. That's fine because this year it's going to be fantastic.
I hope so. Yeah, they're definitely interesting, and maybe Willie Cauley-Stein leaving them would bump up those board numbers. And obviously, you talked about Dedmon, which might not affect it at all. But
because he'll be hopefully spacing the floor out. So.
Maybe if they give him 30 minutes, maybe we'll see higher board numbers.
The problem is they added a bunch of fucking veterans.
Yeah,
like Then it is not the kicking segment. Sorry.
What if they just have him run the entire second unit? It's just 1-on-5 basketball, Marvin Bagley versus 5 guys.
Just do it.
I'd love to see. Pull a
the Kings just tried to roll out what was it, like a 3-center lineup during Summer League last year, or 4 centers, and like just fucking do it. Just do it.
Boom. All right, that's gonna do it for 21 through 30. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Who do we have too high? Who do we have too low? What are your thoughts on Rui Hachimura? That seemed to be a big conversation point this segment. So let us know down in the comments below what you think about that.